everybody. We're going to get started. We're going to keep announcements pretty short so we can run into demos because we have had an amazing turnout and 100% participation in the demos. So big round of applause to everybody. We have budgeted up to 10 minutes per team to demo. By no means do you have to use all 10 minutes, but please try to keep it at 10. Bob's going to have a timer up here with a countdown so that you can keep track of your time. There is time for questions afterwards, but judges, please try to keep your questions brief so we don't have 10 minutes of questions for each one, or we might be ordering pizza for dinner. So with that, I'd like to welcome Jason Arend up here from Mid-America Technology Alliance, who's hosting this event to say a few words.
So again, this is the third year that we put on this event, and this is by far the best year. I cannot believe some of the work I've seen, the creativity and hard work and passion you guys have put in this weekend is incredible. And I know some of you haven't even slept, so hopefully we get some rest tonight. But for the family members, I'm really excited for you guys to see some of the work that's been done this weekend. And again, everybody give yourselves a round of applause because you've done absolutely amazing work this weekend.
And this event would not have been possible without all of our different sponsors. We here's the list of everybody who's helped out, but I wanted to invite Paige from the E-Factory to say a few words because without their support, we wouldn't have a home for this event. And they are doing great things for the local tech community, trying to help grow tech groups and support tech businesses. Can you say a few words about what E-Factory does and maybe, hopefully, how you love Hack for Good?
How much we love Hack for Good.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Like he said, my name is Paige Oxendine. I'm the program coordinator here at E-Factory. We've also got Rachel Anderson here today, who's the director of our tech-focused business incubator. For those of you who don't know, we are a program of Missouri State University. The E-Factory turned 5 just about 6 months ago, so we're well into our 6th year of operations. Love being a supporter and a partner of all things MATA, all things Hack for Good. We really like being the home for as much of this activity here in the community as we possibly can be, and it's really awesome to see this event continue to grow year after year, and we hope to see an even bigger turnout next year. We promise that we will continue to find ways to accommodate you, whether that means moving things upstairs or getting creative with some offices. Jason and I have talked about how we can continue to support you all because we love this event and we want to continue to be part of it. We'd also encourage you to come out and get involved in some of our other programming. So we've got free Fridays in our co-working space. I know some of the teams this weekend were working out of co-working. If you're ever looking for a place to study or just to get some work done, you can come work out of co-working 8 to 5 every Friday at absolutely no charge. So come check that out. We're also home to most of the user groups in town, so I know we've got some tech group leaders in here. If you're involved in the user groups or you're looking to start a new user group in the community, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to accommodate you in rooms such as this, or the BKB room that I know several of you were working out of. We've got an in-house accelerator program, so if you have an early stage business idea, come talk to Rachel or myself after, because applications for Cohort 4 will be opening up in December. That's a $30,000 investment in exchange for 8% equity. Hope to see a lot of you back also for Startup Weekend, which is going to be in early February. But always lots of programming going on here. There are some blue sheets at the table where you all checked in on Friday. So grab one of those on your way out. You can see some of the stuff that we've got coming up. But we really do love everything that Hack for Good is doing and everything that MATA is doing for our community. And it's awesome to see the growth and all the excitement around technology and innovation in Springfield. So
thank you very much, Paige. Appreciate it. Paige mentioned that the E-Factory hosts a lot of the different tech groups and tech events in town. If you haven't already, or if you're a guest of one of the team members, be sure to stop by the Mid-America Technology booth out in the lobby. They have flyers with, say, connect to the local tech that have a directory of all the different tech groups and events in the area. That flyer also has a link to the local calendar with a list of all of the events in the area. Certainly check that out. And one last mention on the sponsors. A lot of these sponsors provided items for the gift bags. If for some reason you haven't received a gift bag or you're here as a guest and would like a gift bag, we still have a few extras up behind registration. You're welcome to grab them on your way out. But We have a couple different teams that are also sponsors, and we really appreciate your support. That by no means guarantees a spot in the first, second, or third. So judges, take that into consideration. But no, in all seriousness, we really appreciate everybody's support. And with that, how many people here helped either plan or organize Hack for Good this year, whether it be the high school competition or the weekend competition? Can we get a big round of applause for everybody who did that? We had over a dozen people helping put this event together, and it wouldn't have been possible without everybody's help and support. So, I mean, our sponsors help make it happen. They help cover your food and your drinks and your shirts and your badges and all the supplies through the weekend. But the volunteers put in a lot of TLC to help prepare everything and make sure that everything's ready to go. And we just really appreciate all of your support. With that, we're going to go ahead and jump right into our first demo. So come on up here, Frank. Oh, hold on just a second, Frank. Chuck wanted to say a few words from Borrow My Angel before we got started. So I'm going to hand it over to Chuck, and then we'll start demos. Thank you, Chuck.
And
Sorry.
Then you're ready, buddy. Sorry, Frank. I asked Jason if I could just say something again really quick. I'm going to sound like a broken record from Friday, but I can't thank you guys enough. It's been really, really remarkable just to hang out. I tried to spend almost half the weekend here, and I felt wore out. I can't imagine what some of you guys staying here till 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and some of you all the way through the weekend. I thought it was incredible. Again, I know we just gave a round of applause to everybody who put the Hack for Good event on, but thank you guys again. Thank you to the E-Factory. Thank you to Mana. I do have a couple special guests I also wanted to point out. We got, again, a couple of our board members, Brett and Loretta, if you guys would raise your hand. I also have my lovely better half, who's a superstar in her own right. She runs a local nonprofit called the Dream Center, my wife, Jody. And my mom made it today as well. Mom, if you can wave. So I know she's going to be even more emotional than I am, because, again, I think my favorite part about this weekend, just hanging out with you guys and getting to know a lot of you guys, was there's probably 4 or 5 of you that stopped me and really kind of shared your stories of why you connected with this so much. Because, again, I talked about it on Friday. It's unbelievable how rampant this issue of depression and suicide and people struggling is just, it touches everyone. So thank you guys for getting vulnerable and sharing your stories with us as well. Really, really appreciate all the work that you guys have done. I will say something at the end as well, because I've also had a handful of conversations, because, again, as you guys know, we were vulnerable. We're an infant organization. We're just getting off the ground. We need a ton of help. I know the continued Hack for Good, or the continued Hack Nights will go on, but we're also looking for more help as well, so I'm going to put that plug out there. If you guys are interested in continuing to help us as we grow, we'd certainly love to have more conversations on that line as well. So with that, thank you guys a ton. Appreciate it.
All right. And with that, Frank, come on up. Frank is volunteered to go first. He has the only solo team and clocked 35.5 hours and an overnight, 2 overnights. So he was here pretty much nonstop. We're going to hand it over to Frank so that he can show us what he's got.
All right, here you go.
All right. So I have a little bit of an introduction, and then I will demo and open up for questions at the same time. My name is Frank Giddens. I built a web app this over the weekend. Why make a web app? According to the National Institute of Health, the most likely people to commit suicide are ages 40 to 59, and people who under 40 who make under $30,000 a year. Of these people, you can see a disparity between the ones who have access to internet and the ones who have access to smartphones. The big picture is every 25 seconds, an American tries to commit suicide. When we extrapolate from the previous stats, we see every 6 minutes there is an attempt by somebody who could be saved using a web app. That's about half the population of Springfield every year. So, oh, it would actually help if I start the server, huh? Let's see here. So we got this main page. We have a one-button access to immediate help, where you don't have to sign in. Instead of connecting using the suggested route, I actually use a queue system so that there is not a failure to connect. You basically will sit in a queue until you connect. Let's see. We got a donation page, about page, ignore the, got a simple login page, and we have to where you can sign up to be either a person in need or an angel. I'm going to go ahead and sign into the web, or the actual chat part, because that's the interesting part. And because I need a second person, I'm going to connect to myself. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. This is why you don't stay up the entire time. And boop. And now you see, boop, hello. And if you go back to the person's page, we got text going back and forth. It is anonymous, and it is connected. They're connected basically directly to each other, and as soon as one of them drops the connection, all of the information is gotten rid of, so that there is not any sort of security issue, really. I wrote this entirely in plain JavaScript so that there's not an issue with any sort of libraries with maximum connection limits or fees, to make it as cheap and easy to use as possible. Does anybody have any questions?
Judges, do you have any questions?
Did you end up implementing, or what did you end up implementing for the donate page?
So the donate page, I think everybody on Slack got a connection to the.
Gotcha. Yeah, cool.
Frank, do you have like ideas or plans of what it would look like to go beyond messaging and like voice or video?
So I actually did work on voice. I couldn't get WebRTC to work without proper SSL certificates and everything. And I was having problems with it. But basically I had the code all set up except for swapping stream of audio. So once I get an actual proper setup, then it's pretty much done. Also, this setup can be utilized to where people can use the text chat and audio chat at the same time.
You mentioned a queuing system. This may be hard to demo, but does it load balance if you get too many people looking for somebody to chat but nobody's logged in to take the chat? How do you pick the person?
It's first come, first serve.
Okay.
Also, if the idea being, hopefully there will be more angels than people who need help eventually. So the queue also has the ability to queue the opposite direction also.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Any other questions? If not, let's give Frank a round of applause. And next up is going to be the OTC Capstone team. And this team includes Nicholas Ingram, Stacy Weeder, Gabe Keatts, Justin Mangan, and TJ Liggett. This team clocked in 104 hours over the weekend, including 2 overnight stays. So be sure to, we're doing a couple things with prizes here today. Everybody that demos is being entered into a drawing for some giveaways. And each team, raise your hand if you stayed overnight at all. Okay, so Nicholas, Nicholas is getting entered into a drawing for the overnight folks. We have
Ingram.
Some cases of energy drinks for the hardcore folks.
And then I don't know if it matters, but
Good luck to
I was
Nicholas
booked
on
as
that drawing.
overnights. I don't know if it matters. I was booked.
One group, yeah. And then who else stayed overnight?
Just him.
Just him, okay.
So-
Nick was hardcore.
That one was the one that you won.
I believe so.
Yeah, and then
So
remember the login and everything.
I
So
do.
this is the one that you're going to be accessing, and that's the app that you're
Is
going
this
to load.
touchscreen?
No, it's not.
No?
So
Okay,
whenever
dope.
I'll tell
This
you.
is your phone?
Yeah.
Oh
it's
yeah,
my
that
phone,
is your
so I'll
phone.
tell you whenever to start going with it.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nicholas Ingram.
I'm TJ Liggett.
I'm Stacy Weeder.
Justin Mangan.
We are all from the. Oh yeah, he's way over there. Is he over there, Gabe? I thought you were over by the table. So. We are the OTC Capstone group. As the name suggests, very imaginative. I know. We're all from the Capstone course over at OTC. So today we're going to be showing you the app that we built. It's all just made in Xamarin Forms, and we're just going to run you through the app that we did. So go ahead and load it.
All right.
So if you load it up here, I had a little bit of, as it goes, kind of an animation that goes to it. Now, the idea behind the loading screen here is kind of like, if someone's kind of like in a crisis situation, in need, they're going to need to, like, it's just kind of like to set the mood. Nature is always something that kind of helps everybody out. It sets the mood to just be very like calming, and that's kind of like this. And then the path here is just kind of like the path towards betterness, is the idea behind that. So as TJ is going to show here, we're going to be logging in as an angel. As of right now, it's not hooked up to a database. We do have a database set up with all the appropriate fields that we needed, but we just weren't able to implement it into this so far. But it's there and easy to implement as the current state is to check for authentication whenever you log in. So as of right now, the angel is looking for clients, waiting for clients to do that connect. So let's go ahead and connect one. So over here, if I just go ahead and press the Find an Angel button, this is going to come up. Don't click it yet. And it's currently looking for an angel. Did it come up with a thing? It did not.
It should have.
Oh, I know why. Little technical difficulties, but we'll get that passed.
Oh, we just need to.
So the way that this is all set up is right now we're just going through TCP/IP client server access. The angel is the TCP server part of it, while the obviously the person in need is just the client accessing the server. The way we have this set up in code is very easy to decouple from the view and the messaging part of it, so that you can implement whatever kind of system that you want, be it like Fire Chat. We were looking at something called Signal R. And we had a couple things, we just weren't able to actually implement it, but we were able to kind of decouple it away. Yeah, so go ahead and log in. And now, let's do this again. Let's hope it's working. So find an angel. So load up. And as you can see, so over here, it's asking someone in need is trying to connect. Would you like to talk to them? And over there, we just have a thing just saying finding an angel, waiting for someone to connect. And go ahead and press accept. Then we were brought up to the chat screen. So it's just simple. You just type in whatever you want, press send, and then there you go. It goes to both ones. It has a nice, simple user face to see who it is that's sending it. So over on, if you look at the angel part, it says person in need is in the green on the right side. I'm just kind of like taking it based off of like iOS messaging, kind of, or just really any messaging kind of thing. And then it says whenever whoever sent it on their side, it'll just say you. It'll tell you the time it's sent and whatnot. And whenever you keep going, it will start scrolling up. Just a bunch of crap data. But yeah, it'll start scrolling up. It just goes from the bottom and keeps going up. So that's the whole messaging app. And once you press the back button, it'll ask if you're sure, because once you leave, all the data is wiped. Nothing's being stored anywhere. And both the Angel and the client will be booted out and sent to the main screen. One extra thing, we do have a create an account over here. However, right now, it's just a blank form. It doesn't do anything. Again, since we didn't have the database hooked up, we weren't able to actually send any data over to the database. But that would be able to, again, easily hook up to whatever database solution that you have to send data over and store user information and whatnot. So that is our app that we have created. Any questions from anybody?
First of all, great job.
Judges, any questions?
Yes.
Xamarin Forms will automatically cross-compile out to Android as well?
Yep. Yeah. So how we have it, we just have it to cross-compile to Android and iOS. We don't have it for Windows Phone, but I'm not 100% sure how easy it is to add afterwards. I've never tried that myself. But if anything, you can always just kind of like move stuff over if you end up wanting to do Windows Phone as well. Yes.
How would you envision adding further, like in the hack nights and that thing, for some of the other features, like the local resources and some of the other features?
So we were going to, if we had time, we were thinking about. Well, no. So we have a very like basic layout of everything. We don't want everything to be cluttered. So we were going to have like a side menu that you can like swipe over or press like a hamburger button on the side to open up the menu, and it'll have all the other resources, your resources, your like blog portion of the app, and all that stuff. So it's not cluttering the main screen, and all you need to find, and this is whenever you actually log in as just a user, the only thing you'll see is just find Angel on the screen. That's all, there's nothing else in the way, just so that when people really need it, it's just there, easy to get to, and there's nothing like obstructing it.
What kind of messaging goes back? I noticed you could accept or decline a chat. If you decline it, they just stay in the queue, I guess.
Right now, the way we have it is whenever it is. Oh, I have to. Yeah. And as you saw there, since the way the TCP/IP works, as of right now, you have to make sure that there's an Angel waiting to be connected to. But yeah, so whenever there is someone waiting, if we connect and go ahead and press decline when it shows up, if it's just declined, as of right now, since that's the only person looking for it, it just boots them out, and then that'd be the failed connection to say, hey, there's no Angels available right now, and it'll send them off to whatever resources that'll need to be shown to them. But normally it would keep continuing to try to connect to other Angels, but just the way that how we have the chat implemented, there's no other like connections to try to check for, basically.
Gotcha. I love the user interface. It's really clean.
Thank you.
This is just a comment, but yeah, I mean, I love too the creativity, like you said, trying to figure out the atmosphere to set when somebody needs coming on and using the nature. So great job on that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Anything else? All right, if not, give them a round of applause. All right, and next up we have the dramatic Roosters, also clocking in over 100 hours at 102. So if we could have Ben High, Colten Johnson, Zack Dyer, and Elliot Campbell come on up. We'd love to see your project.
Hey guys, so we're the Dramatic Roosters. We've got Ben High, I'm Colten Johnson, Zack, and then we had another guy, Elliot, but he couldn't make it today. And yeah, this is our app. not 100% sure what to say, but we broke our team down into 2 different teams. So me and Ben worked on the back end, and we built the database and the architecture in Spring MVC. And then the guys on the front end, they did React.js, and we weren't able to get all of our features completely done, but we made sure that the back end was completely scalable. And yeah, let's go through the app. So the first thing that we have up here is that we can get immediate help, and that's one of the requirements in case someone is in dire need of talking to someone. If we click that, we have a pretty simple chat. This is something that we were using as a third party. I think, Zach, do you want to talk about that a little bit, maybe?
It's just something that we plug in. It's a React module that we have. It'll send a string, and it will. You can basically do inputs and outputs. It hasn't been hooked up to an actual server yet, but it's just for
Right.
but it's ready to be hooked up.
Yeah, it's kind of more for demonstration purposes.
Yeah.
But and a lot of the stuff we did in the app is kind of third party because it kind of helps with if you want to grow the app, you can always add stuff later. That's kind of hard to get a huge app started up right out of the gate. So that's not completely implemented yet, but that's kind of how it would look, and the messaging is in. We just need to connect that to a server. And then the next thing we have is logging in. And so this, we actually do have a server, a live server set up through what's it called, Amazon. And if we want to sign in with someone,
I think I got that right.
yep. And so that hits our database.
No, I didn't. That's fine. I can type.
And then that takes us to a page that shows the blog. And this page is actually, we just started working on it today. We have, like I said, most of the back end together, and Elliot, our other front end guy, he wasn't here this morning, and we finally got the server connected to the front end at like 2 in the morning or something this morning. So so that was the big hurdle, and we were gonna hit the ground running this morning, but unfortunately we weren't all hands on deck. So this is kind of more of a placeholder, and so this is essentially, this is your guys' website, and so you can plug in whatever you want there. If you want to make a blog through like WordPress or something, and you could use their service and have a pretty robust blog, or you could always implement one later. And we were going to add it to where on the left side, on the top left, you could open the menu, which would allow you to have a chat or view resources and stuff, but we just didn't have time to implement that.
There's some more stuff, right?
And then we have the create an account, and if we click on that, we have the option to register as a user or put an application for an Angel. If we apply to become an Angel, we essentially do the same thing a user does. We just add a few extra steps, which is expected. And that actually does push to a live database. And if we were to fill this out right now, we could log in as that same user and edit their values. So we won't in the interest of time. And the last thing is donate. Right now this opens a web page, but if you had it on a mobile device, it would open up in your default browser, which is also something, this is a web app, and we were going to wrap it with an app, or Cordova, to make it an application that you could put on iOS or Android, but we just unfortunately didn't have time to do that. So, anything to say?
That should be it.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right.
Any questions?
You mentioned the back end being built to be scalable. What did you do that makes it scalable?
Okay, so me and Ben actually have formal training in making this back end with Spring MVC, and it's very scalable because we have it layered. So each layer is kind of independent of each other. So I can, I can have the login and the create account. I don't have to have either of them really implemented. I can have one, so I can have a login without a create account. if that makes sense. So I don't know if that answers your question.
So on the create an account, is there any process between creating the account and actually logging in as an angel, or is that something that can happen immediately? They create an account as an angel and they can log immediately in as an angel.
Okay, so this was actually a pretty big debate for us, and I don't believe we asked, but it kind of became clear that we would have to have the angel become a user, but not allow them to have angel function yet. And that's because if I were to try to become an angel, but they don't give me a user account, then I can go back in and I can keep sending in applications, and I can effectively feed off your server with these applications and fill up all your memories. So that's why we have an account, and we probably check to see does they have an account, and if they do, they'll send me the application.
Gotcha. To clarify on the chat, there were some messages that were both being shown from, from different. Do you have actually interaction between another computer at this point, or is this kind of just a placeholder for that, or how's that working right now?
It's all a placeholder. I think Elliot and Zack might be better to ask about this, but it's a third party, so they deal with so this. I'm not sure what service it is, but I know that it connects for us, and all we would need to do is probably do some like checking on the server side and make sure the messages are being sent to the right like WebSocket.
Any other questions? If not, please give them a big round of applause.
Did any of you stay all night?
And Turkey Ghosts are up next.
Yeah, me. Yeah, we did.
So Turkey Ghosts, come on up.
Yeah, Elliot did.
That was inspired by the Wi-Fi password here, which is Turkey Ghosts 405,
Yes.
I believe. Maybe it's a coincidence. But the team members are Ben Walley, Amber Donaldson, Rose Haney, Florangel Ramirez, Jacob Schaum, and Zack Roy. And they clocked in over 100 hours as well. So let's get you guys hooked up. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
No problem. And this is a MSU student team, and they spent lots of time working together. They didn't know each other coming into this, so we formed this team when they arrived. So this it gives you an idea of what the students have been able to accomplish over the course of the weekend, and we're curious to hear your overall experience.
Okay. Well, we're mostly we are. There's a black screen if you don't want people to look at it.
Oh, okay.
Just push B. Anyways, yeah, we're mostly comprised of MSU students, but there were a couple that Ben's never been to college but has a great developer job, and Rose goes to OTC. So, anyways, we're gonna present our presentation. Oh, go back. Okay. So there's a problem in the United States where suicide is a huge issue, and from 1999 to 2016, suicide increased by an average of 30%, and it's getting even worse this year, and it's including even younger ages as well. I know in Utah, their rate is 3 times higher than the rest of the nation as well. So that would be a state that this would benefit. And so the solution is that we need to provide an application where people can help each other by reaching out and becoming their angel. We'll need to have a login, some instant calling and texting, and some resources, and possibly a blog. So for our technology stack, we were kind of newbies, and we just did basic things and then tried out Android. And then I'm gonna do a demonstration. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Let's go here. Okay, so this is our application. We hosted it locally, and first you can either log in if you've created an account, or you'll have to create your account.
Hold on, you don't have any AV.
No, it's gone.
I'm not getting a signal at all from you.
Oh, started.
I don't know, I'm gonna unplug and plug it back in.
Alrighty
Because, you know,
then.
that's what you do.
Turn it off and on again, you got it.
Still nothing?
Nothing yet. Oh, here we go. You're back.
Oh,
It'll
yep.
it'll pop up. I can see it.
All right. So let me go back then. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh, we did a redesign on their logo. And then this is the main login screen. So without logging in, you can talk or message an angel, and it will pop up a disclaimer that will say things about their age and such. And then you can create an account. Okay. And then it asks if you're over the age of 13 and you have to confirm that. Oh, just kidding. Apparently I've done this before. Let me just... Oh, that's what it is. Thanks. Okay. Oh, just kidding. So sorry. This is what demos are supposed to do. Alright, now, there we go. So this will be the screen that you can see when you're logged in, and you can still go to the messenger or the chat, and we were not able to get those to function yet. And then we have this down here. What does it do then?
And so you can edit your information when you logged in. So let's say you can put in your male, female, or whatever information you want to have.
Okay.
There's a menu bar.
Yep, okay. And so then up here we hit a menu so that you can go to different tabs. There's resources, either local or national. There's a blog. You can apply to be an angel and fill out this form. And is that the last thing?
Donate goes to that.
Yeah, and then donate will take you to the link that they provided. Okay, and so then after we did that, we decided that we wanted to see if we could do anything more than that, and so I was able to get a login page on Android to work. And then it opens up to the second activity, and that's where we got. Okay. And now, here we go.
All right.
Questions? Oh, do you want to go back to the web page? Oh yeah, because
Best thing, kind of see it, I think that.
all right. And then this takes you back to the main user home. And if you're logged out, it takes you to a separate screen. All right. Any questions?
Judges, any questions?
Oh, go ahead.
So is this the screen we're looking at here? This is just like a web, like just a local web app?
Yeah, there's a web app. The idea is like Cordova or something, eventually to create it, if you want it into an actual application.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What type of tooling or frameworks or anything did you use for your user interface? And how much of that was custom and how much of that was something that you found already to leverage?
It was mostly custom. There's a little bit of, we use Bootstrap for some stuff. Like the slide out menu. There was a couple of, I'm not sure, we might have used a couple of little other frameworks, but basically it's Bootstrap is the only one. It's mostly custom though.
That's nice.
How close did you get on the chat functionality, and what kind of issues you guys run into?
We didn't do any we tried to do a chat with some external things like Firebase. We never ended up getting it to work, or we could separately, but we couldn't get it to integrate with the app because none of us really had much back-end experience. So we focused mainly on the user experience.
Yeah, later on I did find a video tutorial on connecting Firebase with Android, so that would probably be the next step for that second application that opens up.
Okay.
Yes.
Speaking of backend, the login that you did and that form that you had shown, do those submit and actually do anything, or
they just set up there are forms that they can submit, but they're just front right now. I just did some JavaScript validation for the looks.
Any other questions?
Just
Chuck?
Again, I feel weird asking questions because these are the tech experts, but I know, again, you guys said right out of the gate on the logo stuff, so great work on that. Turned out really good.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, if no other questions, let's give them a big round of applause. And
when we started this weekend, keep in mind that Borrow My Angel doesn't have any real branding or marketing assets yet, so all of the designs that you're seeing came from the teams, and they definitely had some unique and great looking designs, so we were pretty excited to see that part of it take shape. But next up is the Hackitons. They clocked in about 60 hours, and their team includes Synetha Collins, Tim Andrews, and Ali Richardson. You guys have any trouble connecting?
Nope.
All right.
Ready to go.
So I'll hand it off to them.
All right. And be gentle with us. We've never developed a mobile app before, so we used a framework we never used before. We used a bunch of tools we never used before. And it had a lot of problems with our development environment setting up, so that probably, watching the screens load probably took a good half of our time. But what we basically have, we got a front end, a little bit of a front end, and then I guess we got Firebase, but Synetha can talk a little more about that. Initially I thought on the homepage, help yourself, help someone else. You can touch a button, it'll ask if you want to do a voice or a regular chat. Then if it's like an emergency, you could tap 911 and it'll automatically open up a phone dialer so you can get immediate assistance. Okay, and then on the resources, Synetha, you want to talk about Firebase and how you set up the resources side?
Sure. This is, the data's in Firebase. Right now, like I said, it's in there. This is just, I took the CSV through it. It's a NoSQL. Right now, all we have is just the resources name. This is self-help. So really, it just had all the name. If we had more time, on tap would probably display the additional information. Right now, we're just, like I said, displaying the self-help category, but the rest of them are in there.
And the chat functionality, we were going to integrate that with Firebase, or at least attempt to. We were trying to do the lens that could, I think I can, and we got part of the way through. As far as links, just links to open up an external web browser. It'll go to the donation page, the SoundCloud page for the song, and then just the main homepage for the Cause Momentum as part of the community partnership page. And then we have a login form that has a little bit of validation to it, and it'll submit to a console log. So, and that's about it in a nutshell. Yeah, any questions?
All right. Judges?
I may have missed it.
Yeah.
On the home screen,
Yes.
you had some buttons there. The green ones.
Yes.
Anything happen when you click on them?
Yeah, it's on those. Those will, right now, they just go straight to 911 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the quarterly hack nights, if you were to continue to work on this, what would be the next thing you'd be focusing on?
I don't know, maybe developing on a different platform, possibly.
I also probably the text part, the text chat with an angel. Now that we could actually get hooked up to Firebase, adding that. I don't even wouldn't even go with Firebase messaging, since we don't store the data. We could just add it to the DB, and then when it closes, just remove the record. I think that'd be simple enough to implement it.
Any other questions?
Did you enjoy the weekend?
Yes, we had fun.
Yeah.
So, we all worked together, so it was like a team building
I love it.
exercise. So.
All right. If not, let's give them a big round of applause. And our next team up is Team Castiel. So Ben. Castiel. Thank you. Sorry. So Ben, Jordan, Tom, Caroline, and Amber, come on up. And while they're setting up, each of these teams, we encourage them to learn new software and learn new technology as they come in for the benefit of folks who haven't been here all weekend. This is a huge learning experience for a lot of these teams that you've seen so far because they just they haven't had a chance to work together before. Some of them have met for the first time. Some of them are working with rapid development technologies they've never seen. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these projects. A lot of these folks are starting at ground zero and building some pretty amazing things, all things considered. But looks like they're ready to go, so I'll hand the floor off to who's up? Who's speaking?
I'm up
Ben.
first.
All right.
Welcome. Team Castiel, I think it's a reference. So I'm Ben Pomerenke. I'm a software developer at Worldwide Technology, AC Green Labs. I've been doing software development for a little over 10 years. Never iOS development, so that's the fun part for me. This is my third hackathon, so I hope to have a few more. It's always fun. We are missing one of our team members. Jordan McAdoo is on. She was on a flight this morning to, I believe, Austin or.
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah. So she works for a company remotely, and I guess it's time to go meet her coworkers. And then.
My name's Amber Gillenwaters. I'm a graduate student in experimental psychology. I'm a member of Jordan's group that she founded, Springfield Women in Technology. So I'm in experimental psych. I have experience in R programming, but got to take the plunge and learn some React Native, and that was pretty neat. I got to learn a lot, more than you could just with like a tutorial or trying to teach yourself. So I got to try that and learn quickly.
My name is Caroline Miller. I'm also in Women in Tech. I work as a computer animator. So I really just worked on design. I didn't do any coding.
My name's Tom Pepe. Work with Ben as a software developer, so I didn't do any coding either. Just kidding. Yeah. So this is my second hackathon, and I think it's really cool. This industry has done a lot for me, and always looking for some way I can give back to the community. It's done a lot for me, giving me a career, a way to focus my nerdiness into something useful. I'll let you.
All right, so talk about the app. So this is a native iOS app. I think in the years past we've used some of the more hybrid frameworks. Native iOS was chosen thinking forward that we want this to be a first-class citizen in the realm of apps. And so to really do it right, you should go native. At least that's the mantra of our company and a lot of people I've met that do native development. In terms of the actual workflow and everything like that, most of this is actually only in app. We did not focus on connecting it to a service backend, mostly because we thought the workflow was the most important. Once you get the workflow, hooking it up to the backend is actually relatively easy. I will say though, towards the end, we did wire it up to a Django backend just to prove that we could have service connectivity to do some of the management of the resources, but otherwise it's mostly all in app.
I'll kick off the chat. The chat actually does have.
1 second.
Oh,
good.
Oh, design. Yeah.
My bad.
It's okay.
Yeah, my role on the team was working with design, and my main theme in that was minimal and simple, easy to navigate, especially when you're in a mode where you're not in your best place, it's easy. You want whatever the app is delivering to be just right there. And then with color, I changed it drastically from what it was. I thought that going with warm colors was just that. It was warm, it was welcoming. And then we had hints of gray, which is a natural to comforting color. Okay.
Now the chat.
Sorry. I'm incorrigible. So we've got this on an iPhone. I'm going to log into an account and be an angel. And I'm available. And
I'm
there we go.
connecting over here.
So I can start a chat. So this could be done with 2 phones. Obviously, this is a phone simulator. You just enter nothing.
Yep. just testing it while we're doing it.
All right. No time like the present. All right. If we
No.
if we enter enough messages, you'll see the scrolling.
We're just getting it all the way down.
Yeah. So that's fun. All right. So that's pretty cool. For the back end here, we used this thing, which I think I tweeted this or whatever, added it to our account, our whatever Slack chat. I'm old. So Sendbird is what we're using for the back end on here, which is pretty cool. It's just an API for chats, and there are features on here that allow you to do keep everything anonymous. You can enter rooms with just 2 people, and they don't store any of the data. So those are all options that you can do. So there's sort of buy versus build is what we went with here, and figured we could grow from there. Or you could always go with a different option, but this had a lot of the features that we wanted out of the box.
Can you show me the chat now?
Oh.
Show me the angel first. I can't see the other side.
That's right, you can't see Ben's phone. So we also have this chat now as a guest button, which takes you right into your list of how you're feeling, or you can just say like, I need to talk right now. So you get right into talking, and this time Ben's going to be an angel. Are you connected yet?
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, okay. Somebody there. All right, cool. All right, so there we go. Yeah. You can also fill this out if you want to fill out more information. This is in there. So, yeah, what was the other thing I was going to show? Was I going to show the blog now or later? Later.
I think that's later.
That's later.
You already showed them sign in. Okay. So next, I'm going to show you guys the resources. So, so when they open the app, because we're noobs to iOS, we don't know how to make this like a custom one. But this is the normal one for bookmarks, but we're reusing it for resources. So they're taken to a page that lists out some resources, and they can search by zip code to filter them. And then they can see the more details by clicking into them. So right now, most of these are static. They are the information we're given, but we can actually add some more. Go out of here.
Middle tab.
There we go. So this is actually the back end from last year's hackathon. Went ahead and reused it. But this is kind of what it could look like for an admin interface. This is using Django. It's really easy to define the data models. It has high security, things like that. So that'd be why it might be a good choice. But basically, The administrator would have the ability to add resources. I'm just going to quickly go through this.
Here.
Save. And if I switch back to the app, you'll now see that one there under demo resource with the information I just saved. If you click the phone number, it takes you to the phone. That's actually just built into iOS. I don't think we're actually specially doing anything there. All right, what's next? I think that's
Is it the blog?
Amber. No, this is the. All right, so the next part is Amber, and this is how you actually sign up.
Okay, so there you see I want to become an angel. So you just click that. And you've got your fields there. This whole idea really kind of hit home for me. I volunteer for a crisis line, so I know firsthand that there's both a need for volunteers and just the need in the community. I've also worked in adult psych, I work for a crisis hotline, mostly domestic violence, but I've got suicide calls because people don't know who to call. So I think it's really important that people can apply easily and conveniently coordinate when they're volunteering. But it's as easy as that. They can fill out that quick form, get in touch with who they need to, so that there's more access to qualified volunteers for people that need it. And then we have the blog, I think.
Yeah.
So you're driving this one.
All right, yeah, so we have a couple of links down here. Got this little make a donation. Oh, wait, was that supposed to go in?
Whoops. Later. It's okay.
Sorry.
Still
You
my
have 1
finger.
minute.
Still my
Yeah,
finger.
let's see, and then there's that, and then here's the blog. So blog's all the way to the right. This is just WordPress. So here we have signed up for WordPress. And of course, you can probably take my word for it that you can add blog entries to WordPress. Here's a little WordPress thing that we sent out here. We've got a mission statement. So that's all on there. And, oh look, a link to Facebook and your current site, and a link to donations.
Did we cover donate from the first page?
That's that's what I was just
Yeah.
accidentally stole Ben's thunder on.
It's okay. I think that's all that's left.
That's really it.
Yeah. So there's just 2 more functionalities. Donations. It'll drive you there from the app. So heart with the $, as well as social sharing. So we're using the native share capabilities. This simulator doesn't have anything installed that actually can register the share event, but basically it will share a message saying, hey, check out this app, and it will give you a link to the App Store.
Awesome. Nice.
I'll steal Shannon's question earlier. So, what would be the next step for you guys?
So the messaging is in-app negotiating in a kind of a faked way. So having actual connecting people in the back end would be probably the next thing. We actually almost did it, and then we stopped, and then we tried a different thing, and yeah.
That was my fault. I that should definitely be getting done on a server somewhere, not on your phone.
What's the cost of the Sunbird API?
So it's free for 25 concurrent users, and after that you can call a representative. so there's that.
Gotcha. Two quick questions. Whenever I noticed on the when you first went in to chat, you could indicate your level of risk and some other information. Does that go to the angel? Do they see that? Yeah.
No.
What you're dealing with and the level of risk.
No, it's just a straight chat.
Okay. So that's not reflected on the angel side?
No. At the moment.
Gotcha. Okay, and then the last one was, when you apply to be an angel, is that tied into the Django backend at all?
Nope. No, we only hooked up the resources at
Gotcha.
Yeah, and our flow for that, I think, was going to be that data would be dumped somewhere, and then someone through a different admin portal would actually sign you out.
Gotcha.
We
I
don't want
love
to. We
that.
want to automate that process.
I love that application process, and I like the thoughtfulness you put into the UI. It's really good.
Does the voice side of things work?
No. Yeah. So we could have done something simple like connected up phones, but I mean, once you
There's a
call
lot here,
somebody,
so,
it's like,
you know, feel bad about that.
So how would you envision making an Android app for this too? I know you said it's native iOS and that you're doing native on purpose, but would you, how would you scale that out to be able to handle Android devices too?
So the workflow took, I mean, most of the workflow, once we had the assets, like the design assets, didn't take very much time. So actually building these views in Android would be relatively simple. So really the scale complexity or scaling out would be more on the server and the security side, less about the cost of the implementing of the views.
Is it in Swift now or Objective-C, or how'd you?
Swift.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we made a rookie mistake, I think, or at least I think now, because we used Storyboard, and it totally killed our performance. So like the last 8 hours of development were like waiting for spinners all the time.
Beach ball, yeah.
So
A lot of beach balls.
Yep.
Well, it's looking great. Thank you guys.
Anybody stay all night?
I mean, Ben's not calling it all night, but I would.
All right. Had an hour.
Well, next up we have the interns. So if we could get John Willis, Haley Martinell, Nathan Paisley, Kai Fawn, Manik Vashith, and Erica Gitlin up here, we'd love to see what you've got. And while we're waiting on them, couple announcements. This event is being streamed live on the Mid-American Technology Alliance YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and check anything, you're welcome to pull up the video later. If you know somebody who presented or your team presented and you'd like to use your portion of the demo for something, you're welcome to download that and crop it down to your portion or link to our video. We just ask that you not download the full video and repost the full video anywhere. Looks like they're ready to go, so I'll hand it off to the interns.
All right, so our team is the interns, and we all go to Missouri State like around sophomore, junior year. So we didn't have too much experience coming into it, but we definitely learned a lot. The languages we use HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Node. And John's going to talk more about that.
So yeah, like Kwai said, we actually, none of us had ever had any experience like making a post request or routing that. So we were really kind of ground up on the level of like making this actually work. And so that was a thing, but it didn't mean we didn't try really hard. I mean, we put so much effort into this, and we had, I think we had a good vision. You know, we did our best to do the account creation for the users and the angels and the login, and have the donation link. And then we had like 3 different APIs that we were working with. Attempted to do it all on the back end, really. So the messaging with SendBird, like the last group did, and then the browser-to-browser voice call. I think Twilio does one that isn't connected to your phone number, so we attempted to do that, and then our database is in Firestore. So you can go to the next. So like I said, we're kind of noobs. So we didn't get done, and it's not really a functional app at this point. We'll have a couple of screens to show you that are just kind of like mock-ups of like, here's kind of what we were trying to do. Yeah, it's currently unfinished, and I think part of that is because we started actually on Android Studio, and then abandoned that like halfway through. So we completely switched our approach from trying to build an Android app to a web app, and so we had about half the time to do that, and we didn't get there. So we'll show you what we got. Yep. Nope. Maybe. Nope. Maybe. There we go. So just like a basic login screen here for our people in need. and our stuff, and I think this is gonna break. Yep. And then Angel, same sort of thing. Probably also, okay, cool. Have that donate button, which goes to the page over there. And then, okay. I think it's probably, is that all we, oh, yes, okay. And so these are the things that are supposed to do the calling and messaging. We didn't actually get that linked up. So we did our best, but this is kind of the idea. Was sort of similar to having like a little bit of data about where the user's at, just to kind of help things out, both long-term and short-term. So I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh yeah, you can create an account too as well, which is down here, and all of that information is there, and it changes depending on whether you're whether you initially selected to be a user or an angel. So, back over here, back to the reality that we are noobs. I think we have some cool ideas, and that's really what I want to focus on, kind of closing out here. If we had kind of a lot of experience to be able to come into this and know what the heck we're doing, I think it would have been really cool to really flesh out that idea of having some data, and obviously there's the permissions thing and the legality of that. But we had this idea for like a mood tracker that in a similar way to like what other groups have shown, you kind of put some data in about your mood if you're a user, and then we can run some analytics on that long term to see like what kind of the user base looks like, when people typically use the app, and maybe even target some resources at them depending on the trends that we're seeing in their mood over time. And that could potentially integrate with things like Samsung or Apple's health like apps. So you know, a lot of times physical activity can be a really big deal for your mental health. And so even being able to observe things like that could make a big difference in the way that the app is able to serve, like in a very proactive way, the user. So not only hosting the messaging and letting users help themselves, but also being really a resource for them in an active way. And then kind of another spin-off of that would be like, if you guys have ever logged into like Forbes' website, they push you to that page with like some random quote for whatever reason, and then push you through to the actual page you want. And we kind of like had that idea for like either push notifications or like the home screen, just like kind of cycling through different encouragements for our users, just to really bring a positive experience into the whole thing. And so, yeah, and I think we had a heck ton of fun. We learned so much. I mean, we kind of split it into front end and back end after we eventually went to the whole web app approach. And like I said, we were learning from the ground up on handling a post request and making a post request and like, how does this all work? And it was really cool to see all of you guys do that. Like, it's super inspiring as someone who's just sort of dipping his toes into all of this to see like where we can go with this. It's like, I don't know, it's such a cool thing. And Borrow My Angel, like, this is such a cool idea. So thank you, Chuck, for bringing this to the community, because I think it's amazing, and I'm excited for the potential for the future. So I think that's us. We are the interns, and
you guys rock. Thank you.
Well, thanks.
Did you have enough fun? You're coming back next year.
If you'll let us, we will, and hopefully we'll know how to make post requests next time.
More questions.
Yeah, so I want to commend you on your attitude. I love your humility. I think it's great that you guys dove in and learned so much. I do want to continue to remind you of the quarterly hack nights. It's another opportunity to kind of keep learning. But the group that presented before you, I was going to thank them for pointing out that they're developed, you know, they got 10 years of experience. They've been doing this a long time. And so I thought that was a good thing for them to point out, so that you guys aren't discouraged in any way, because you've done a great job. You've got a good start, you've dove in, you're learning new stuff, and that's good. Good job.
Any other comments?
I guess you had a screen, I think, in the chat session, and it had a kind of a mood bar on the front. Was the idea there to kind of track the mood as the chat session goes on, or was it
No.
just initially to track it
Yeah, that'd be an initial thing, and depending on like how you want to handle that legally, if we can send that to our volunteers to help them kind of gauge where the user is at, I think that could be helpful. But also in a more hidden maybe isn't the right word, but long-term scope of being able to track each login, each time a user logs into a chat, where are they? How does that compare to where they've been? How does that compare to like those analytics with their activity in general, and surveys and things like that? So.
Did anybody stay all night?
Yeah, I was here. I slept on the floor this morning for a couple hours, but it was fun. All right, thank you guys so much.
All right, next up we have semicolon drop team tables semicolon. Reference to a SQL injection attack, pretty clever. Clocked in at 100 hours even with 5 overnights. Jace Medlin, Beck Broughton, Tiffany Ford, Kirsten Markley, and Brennan Reeves. And while they're getting set up, another note, all of the teams have submitted preliminary GitHub repository. If you go out to GitHub and search for MATA-XGF, you'll find a forked copy of all of their repos with a link back to their home repos. So as those get updated, you'll be able to see their source code. And eventually, the goal with the with one of these projects is to adopt it into the ongoing hack nights, where we can continue to expand and improve and complete the project to a point where Borrow My Angel can start using it. All right, looks like they're ready to go.
Okay, so first off, a quick overview. We got this awesome splash.
Self-employed app.
We got this awesome splash screen that actually Beck did, where it has like a gender-neutral person with lyrics from the song around the image. I'm talking about that now because it's a splash screen and it will go away. After that, we have a sign up, an account creation. We have 3 different dashboards, one for an unauthorized user, or not unauthorized, but one who hasn't created an account, an Angel dashboard, and one who has created an account. We have an emergency button that will take you to right there, actually. You wanna, did you show the splash screen?
Yeah.
Cool.
So there's, if they're not logged in, then they would get these options. But if they want to log in, then they get some additional options. No, I'm just going back. There's the splash screen again.
And you can create an account. You go to sign up. You enter a new email.
Rip whoever owns this.
And after that, it will prompt you for more information. If you choose to enter it, it's all optional. But it has everything included, and it actually shows your email up there, so so you know that it actually went through. Apart from that, we have the privacy policy at Become an Angel. These will take you to the website. We actually have a website that it has a blog, it has an admin page, it has.
Want to go ahead and walk through the website? Yep. Okay.
Yep. So we're gonna walk you through the
Okay.
website.
Do you have that? Yep, it's right here. Okay. So Beck, I'll let you start. Do you want to express?
Okay. We incorporated the beautiful lyrics that you came up with into a piece of artwork, and we've also used that as background here. We liked the dark color themes, but we also plan on in future, if we were implementing a light color screen, we sort of talked back and forth both for the website and the app about different people and how they feel when they are feeling down. Like I myself, if I'm down, like my eyes are really light sensitive, so I prefer the dark screen. And I think Jay said that he felt dark might be not so great, so he would like light. So there's future possibility of adding a lighter background in there, and you can toggle back and forth based on how you're feeling right there. We've got the About Us page in the front, and it's got your mission statement and your goals, and you can click on Be an Angel. Oh, also, we flipped with the logo. We added real angel wings that we stylized so that they kind of stand out more. We really liked that aspect. We have which one do you want to click on?
About the privacy policy?
We have a privacy policy. I've got Lorem Ipsum in there right now, but you know that can disclose everything that you need to say about this is totally secure. You're not tracking anything. You don't have to tell us anything. You do want to, sign up on the phone and give us your name and your email so that we can talk back and forth, but also that you don't have to. We've also got a blog. So they're totally anonymous blogs, and you can I wasn't sure, either you want to post blogs about how to help people, or people want to post blogs about like an epiphany that they had when they were feeling something, or they just wanted to share with the community something that happened, because sometimes it just feels good to get it out. And then we have a Be an Angel page where you can sign in to volunteer. So it'll send your credentials in to borrow my angel, and then you can be looked over, and it's got a thank you so that you can recognize that yes, that went through. That's one of the things I hate, is if I have a form and I hit submit, but it doesn't really tell me that it went through. So that will be sent to you guys to look over and set up a meeting for later. In future, we would like to add also like a training and what was the other feature? A training page. You guys wanted a page that after you log in for angels that work here, that you can update training information. But there's also an admin page for I guess UCHUP and others at your level, so that you can log in and monitor everything.
Yeah.
And
Can I show them that?
Yeah.
Beck?
The cool thing about this too,
Go
when,
ahead.
when
yes,
you first,
Kirsten might want to talk about all of the.
So this Be an Angel, this part is attached right now to a MySQL database. It is operational. If you fill something in, it will save the data. We have an admin page that we hooked up to Firebase, and it's currently working, but I'm going to bypass it because you can at the moment. But that would give you the ability to, that would handle all of the login security. And then once you're logged in, obviously we would secure this with sessions or something. This is all done in PHP. But the idea is that once you filled in that application, you're going to default to pending. And so these are 2 people that we currently have pending. And so you could click on one of those people. You could see the information that was asked for. You could change the status, which is operational. I also put a little field in there for whoever's doing the reviewing to say we turned it down because, or we thought this person was awesome, or whatever you wanted to do. Once that's changed, it will appear in a different list. So that's available for, and you can always go back and change it again if you wanted to. So.
And then once an angel's approved, they can actually go to the app, and we are utilizing the exact same login page. It's all just talking to Firebase, determining whether or not you're our person in need or our user, or if you're our approved angel. And so if you're an approved angel, what you actually see is different when you log in. Typo. So you actually get the ability to then change your availability status. And so a lot of our functions in the app are backed by AWS Lambda that are talking to that MySQL database. So right now you can see that this particular angel's status is set to do not disturb, but I could go ahead and set myself available That's gonna flag me up on the server and change that status for me, which it looks like it's running just a little slow. There it goes. Now you can see my status is available. And so that's already changed on the database side, so they're flagged up, and if someone asked for help, then they would be the first one to queue. Okay. 2 minutes. Yep, you're up.
Alright, so one of the things you may have noticed is we don't have a display up here actually showing what the chat looks like. Unfortunately, we were unable to actually wire up our entire backend system up to a UI that successfully updated when messages were being sent. However, we do have an entire backend infrastructure for managing all the chat systems and being able to pair people that need help to the Angels. We've also have it set up in the application so it's ready to go. It just needs a view hooked up to it. So it's got all the data of keeping track of the logs if need be. They can also be disabled so it doesn't save anything. And all that stuff is backed by Firebase real-time database. So.
It's also fun, if you go back to the first screen that you log in.
The login screen?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, it's fun looking at how many of us, of our teams, we all have the same login page, the front page.
Yeah. And then
we have an awesome button.
Yeah, we have a better button.
Yeah. The way the chat is set up, it's set up so that you don't have to have an account if you don't need to.
Yeah.
And this button, theoretically, if we had the view set up, you would just be able to click on it, and it'll pair you directly with someone. It'll tell you you're waiting, and once you're paired.
Well, it'll take you to the page that asks you what you need help with.
So,
and it does work.
and then, so yeah, if you started a chat and
Any
we
of
were.
the pages that haven't been physically made yet, we've got wireframes ready to go for them.
Yes.
Just not
Yep, yeah, they're right here actually.
Yeah, they're very pretty.
Oh, tons of wireframes. All over here.
All over the floor.
All right. Anything
Okay,
else?
that's it.
Any questions?
Kind of, I was following all the way until I saw the lyrics, but tell me about this artwork. Like, how did you guys come up with it? And I was trying to figure out the design of it.
I have a background in interior design and I'm new programming. So I kind of got assigned design aesthetics for everything. So any image that you see, any of that, I flipped with, except Jace helped me come up with the wings, which I think is awesome. But as I was looking through and trying to come up with an image that kind of embodied what you guys were about, I saw a very similar piece of artwork that had a woman and just random words. So I took that and I thought, we need to put the lyrics in there. So I made sure that the person was androgynous as possible. I don't know how well it shows up on the screen, but they could have a pixie, they could have a mullet, you don't really know. And I pulled as many of the lyrics in as I could and tried to loop them around, and I made some of the more feely words pop out with different colors, and then I wanted to make my favorite lyric of yours pop out the most. So I put that over the person's face. You're strong, and you can be tougher.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mike.
So we had AWS Lambda, Firebase, PHP, MySQL.
Yes.
The app itself, is that just native Android or?
Xamarin.
Xamarin, okay.
Xamarin Android.
Xamarin
Android.
Yep. So iOS, easy enough to get going?
Yes.
It basically just a change of layout. Yeah, all the code on the back end is the same with Xamarin.
Real quick question about the blog post. Is that administratable right now, or is it just a placeholder?
Placeholder right now.
Anything else?
Who was the one person that didn't stay all night?
No,
I require sleep.
I slept 2 hours the entire time.
Yeah.
She is the only one that stayed this entire time.
Wow.
I require sleep, so I must go home and
Yeah.
sleep. But
I
many
went
of my
home in the
teammates
mornings and
are much
slept.
stronger people.
No,
apparently.
yes.
Awesome.
I refuse to let the young ones outdo me.
I know.
Damn it! Not gonna happen.
It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to grab these?
All right. Well, great job. Great demo. is Added Innovation. Clocked in 130 hours with 5 overnights across their team of Mark Whistler, David Schaum, Austin Cummins, Jason Barnes, and Ryan Williams. Come on up.
Thanks, Jason. Well, all right, getting set up here, I just wanted to introduce us at Added Innovation. We're just down the hallway here. This is actually our home. So when we stay overnight, it's sort of like living here, which is kind of odd. I'm Mark. David's there at the laptop. Austin's next to him. Ryan. This is Jason. He was unable to join us today, but his sweat equity is
He had to go hang out with his mother-in-law today. Sucker.
Jason's in the corner working all weekend.
That's right. That's right. So the last time we were all here together on Friday, we sort of came away with 3 different messages. One was the heartbreak. A lot of us can relate to the things that Chuck was talking about. In fact, some of the people on our team have some direct relationship with that. The second one was hard work. You can see between Chuck and the board and everyone else involved in the organization, it's hard to get a nonprofit started, as well as coming up with all those requirements. There's a lot of things that go in to make that possible. And then finally, a message of hope, which is really what this weekend is all about. And so when we stepped back and thought about this from Added Innovation, we want to take those core requirements, we want to boil them down into the core essence of what we felt like was important to you, Chuck, and to your organization. And so we felt like with any nonprofit or with any business or any large enterprise, it's important to fail fast. We want to make sure that not you fall flat, but that you can quickly determine what's working and what's not, and things that are not working, you can get up front early on. And so what we want to try and give you is a tool that you can look at and you can get involved with friends, with donors, maybe investors, partners, to be able to really see what this looks like. The tech stack behind the scenes is pretty traditional. It's .NET, ASP.NET with a REST web API. You're going to see two mobile apps today, and you're going to see an ASP.NET responsive website. The 2 mobile apps will work with both Android and with iOS. We're going to be demoing Android today. There's Cordova plugins we'll set underneath. There's some React, JavaScript, Firebase all going on behind the scenes. So the core piece of this is to be able to take someone in need and to connect them with an angel. So that's the first thing we want to get here, and Austin's going to walk us through what that looks like. Austin?
Okay, sorry for my voice, guys. Bear with me. But on the left side, what you're seeing on the left side of the screen is David's actual phone, and this is a mobile app that would be downloaded by an ally or somebody who's actually seeking help. Okay, so on the right side of the screen is the mobile app that would be for angels. So I'm going to pick this up here, and I'm going to click Get Help Now. And you'll notice if I slide the slider over to 9 or higher, then I'm going to get the indication that, hey, if this is a medical emergency, you need to dial 911. You can also select the type of help that's needed. We have all those options available. So I'm going to choose I'm having a rough day. And then preferred method of communication, you can see voice call is grayed out right now. It's disabled. We did not implement that at this time, but that's obviously part of the plan. So I'm going to choose text conversation, and I'm going to hit continue. And it's going to pop the privacy policy message for the legality aspects that you guys talked about to say, hey, just so you know, if you proceed, then, whatever you guys need to include in the privacy policy for them to agree to. So when I click proceed, 2 things just happened. So on the left side, you can see it went to a little finding your angel GIF, and we just threw something in there to show that something's going on. And then on the right side, this is the angels application. So regardless of what they're doing in the application, they're going to get this notification that's going to pop. And it says, someone has asked to chat with an angel. Are you available to assist? So I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And now we're both in a conversation. And I could be down the street or in a different state, and this would work. This is using Firebase behind the scenes.
course, it didn't connect in the demo. Let's just
try that again.
there we go. We'll reload. Go ahead.
So, so the chat does go back and forth, and they would have the ability to, as we just did. I'm gonna test the demo gods here and do it, but you know, I go back to the chat, everything's still there. We would implement at some point probably a timeout feature. We don't want to keep that so that if they pick up their phone 2 weeks later, everything's there. So that is the chat feature.
All right, thanks, Austin. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Borrow My Angel side. As Austin said, there's 2 apps in a mobile app here, so we're actually delivered three distinct apps in this process. So if I come back to the phone, you'll see that we have the hamburger menu fly out over here with the different components that are available. I'm just going to kind of come back to the home screen real quick. You'll see that we just have sort of some intro text. We are not graphic designers. We're enterprise developers, and so we're very much focused on functionality, and hopefully the frameworks help us with some of the design. Certainly everything's themable and all that. So coming back and applying a theme is what we were looking for. We included the concept of the song, and that listening now pops you right out to SoundCloud, and then you can go out and listen to that, and then come right back. We did implement blog posts, so these are like 99% of what you're seeing here is all functional to a back end. So here's blog posts. I can come in. Since I'm logged in, I can put in I can create a blog post with the different blog post types. You can see that gets created. When I come back over here on this on the home screen, that should pop here in just a second. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it didn't create. I don't know why. Anyway, so that's all. Everything you're seeing there is coming from the database. You'll see that we do have resources. So this is local, national, and strategic resources with search implemented. So we can come in and look at the different resources that are available, sort of some placeholders for mapping functionality and sharing and viewing technologies. And then, of course, we've got some things at the last minute. We had to make some architecture changes so the actual history doesn't pull. It's just going to oh no, it is back again. Okay, great. So you can see all their previous chat history in there. We envision that going off and then being able to see resources that were shared in that process and so on. Making a donation, that just pops out to your one of the donation pages. We've got subs for all the about us, and so all that's here. Terms and conditions, privacy policy. And of course, contact us pops out to just like the Facebook page. All those things are super straightforward to implement, and then of course, like in-app feedback. So that's so I can send back, hey, I love this app. I hate this app. You've really helped me, so on and so forth. You can. I was already logged in, so. We've also got a process where you'll notice as I logged out, you don't have any plus buttons anymore, so you can't create blog posts unless you're logged in. But you'll see that I can still get help in this process, so it doesn't actually require login in that time period. It'll all still work. So Ryan, you want to talk about the Angel side?
Yeah. So on the Angel side, and we'll go through this as quickly as possible here. The primary thing that you're going to see that's different is you're going to want to be able to manage your status. So as you come in here, you can say you're unavailable or do not disturb. We envision that this would be built out to show you how long you've been in your current status, and of course this is where you do the kind of planning that was discussed in the requirements to say I plan to go unavailable in X amount of time and get a reminder. You choose your preferred method of communication, which is currently just, again, stubbed out because we only have text. So you could say, I'm available for text. So if you have, if you're watching 6 Kids, you might be able to hold a text conversation, but you probably can't get on the phone. If we come in and we look at your profile, you can update your account just if you just need to update any information relevant there. We don't have time to go through all the details, but on create account, similar to what you've seen in some of the other presentations, you get dumped down on the thank you page that lets you know that you're pending approval. That approval will be managed through our admin page that will approve them and let them access the other areas of the Angel app. Some of that still needs to be done through some of the role-based logic available to us in OutSystems, but that's pretty much it. And of course, you have the resources available here as well.
Okay, Mark.
Yeah, in the last 5 seconds, I just want to point out that there is an admin backend here. And so, one of the things we talked about was being able to try and track how effective things are going. So this is a live backend, so you can see just 8 minutes ago we had the connection here. It will break it down into various help areas. I know it's kind of hard to read, but depression, I'm having a rough day. So you can get a quick dashboard there. Angels on the left-hand side is actually live approval. So as those come in, you can actually approve those on the fly, as well as the resources that David outlined in the application. So those, just as an example, you can click on those, you can edit those, make changes to those, et cetera, et cetera. So that's it, guys.
On the can you pull the Angel section back up that you had just a second ago?
Talk about on the Angel app or the Angel administrative
On
side?
the Angel portion, yeah, on Angel support, did you guys get a chance to build out any portion of the, there was another one that you had on there, maybe it was under resources for like the training for the Angels, did you guys get any?
Nah, we didn't touch.
Get to LMS.
Yeah, we didn't touch any of that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there's
that's just where that would link out to.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of LMS systems out there that have freely available APIs, and so we opted for focus on the chat and some of the others, and then we can always come back in and add that. Yep. Okay.
I have 2 quick questions. One, you might have heard that we have a quarterly hack night, and if you guys were to come back, or I'm sorry, when you guys come back for that, what would be the next thing you would think about? What would you focus on?
Well, certainly there's the phone side, which we kind of just put on the back shelf for now. So I think that's certainly part of that. And there's just a lot of other in-depth features on this. So this kind of really gets things to surface level. There's a lot more details that we could start to go into and really flesh that out.
Very good. And then on your blog, are the blog posts moderated?
Not right now. I
yeah.
mean, there is a active, inactive right now. I mean, honestly, like I just built that out and just so that it's there. But the reality is, we probably would want to use like Blogger or WordPress or something else like that as the actual blog engine. And so that can all just be swapped out on the services layer.
Great job.
Yeah.
With that OutSystems, does that include any sort of queuing or being able to manage, who to find and all that, or how does that?
For the Angels?
Yeah, well, you make a call and you're trying to find the right person. Is that included in OutSystems, or do you have anything for that right now, or how is it making that connection and determining who to call?
Well, right now it's very much streamlined for the demo, so it's just kind of broadcasting out to all the Angels. What we actually anticipated was having configurable aspects such as, what percentage of the available Angels should this go out to first, sort of a round robin technique. There's a lot we could have done with it. To answer your question about the platform specifically, it does have a sort of a workflow management process that allows you to build out really complex things like that, where it's like, hey, something came in, now I need to start this behind the scenes process that's just going to kick off and maybe wait for 5 minutes. Maybe it's got to notify people that something happened. So that's probably what we would leverage for that long term, because it gives us huge control over those things, and we can expose that actually to administrators to go in and actually tweak that and say, no, we need to be making sure, we need to do, it needs to go out to at least 50% of the available angels, or no, it needs to go out to 25% first, or maybe it needs to go out to 100% of them. So our concern there was like kind of concurrency of everybody hits yes at once, but.
Okay. Just a quick follow-up on that. You may have mentioned it, but the cost structure for out systems, is there a scaling cost? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's very scalable to what needs to be done. So I mean, it kind of depends on it. Encompasses all the hosting as well, and so that's all done in AWS. So it's just a matter of what size, but it would grow and scale with the size of the application.
One of the things I would mention about OutSystems that I think there is a cost involved. They've got 4 different tiers basically that you would roll that in, and so what we've been seeing is it's about 5, 6, sometimes 7 times faster on the development. And so what you end up doing is shifting the labor costs or the programmer cost into some of that infrastructure cost, and so you can develop a lot faster. So the overall cost of the application is still way lower, but there is right now we're on free tier, right? So it will run. I mean this will run on Android and iOS right now. We can deploy it out to both app stores, and obviously we've got to get them approved and all that. And so, but yeah, I mean they're ready to deploy right now, and it'll run on the free tier. And so there's just some user concurrency limits and different things that you would run into. But beyond that, yeah, I mean then it's just you purchase a subscription, and you just instead of deploying it here, you deploy it over here, and now you're just magically running over in production. It's pretty impressive actually.
Well, they covered other questions I had, but just kudos on how much you were able to accomplish. I think you made a really smart choice, it sounds like, in your platform. And even though you all said you had no design, I think it ended up looking very clean, streamlined, and polished. So if we had a designer who was willing to donate some time, I mean, just a little bit to add some personality in there, I think would make it look like it's there.
And so I think it's probably also important to as you think about the hack nights and things like that, we actually have not that much experience with this platform. So we've developed a lot of web with OutSystems, but this is our first mobile apps that we've built with it. And so we went to training, we're certified in it, and so we have had formal training in it, except for Ryan. He just did the tutorials online. So I mean,
I did half
and
the
this
tutorial
weekend
on Thursday, and then they threw me in the deep end on Friday.
Yeah. So it sort of I think is a testament to the framework and the ability to jump in and just go at it. I mean, it's all microservices architecture, and I mean it's built for containers and all this other buzzwords.
And speaking as someone who kind of got thrown into the deep end on it on Friday, it definitely took some getting used to figure out how to create things in it, but it was really quick and really understandable to read what was there and be able to at least have the ability to figure things out, figure out what it was doing, and be able to offer input on what needed to change. So that was really useful coming in on it. So I think if it did go to the hack nights, that people could adapt to it pretty quickly, at least as far as starting to change what's there and then getting comfortable with adding to it and creating new things. Sorry, on the tech stuff, I may have missed a little bit of that OutSystems. The actual client apps themselves, like the iOS and the Android, what is that stack look like? What are those technologies?
Cordova. So Cordova is mainly, and then there's some React thrown in there as well. There's a lot of JavaScript.
So if you got web skills.
Yeah.
If you've got web skills, you're good.
Yeah, and that's been so the people I know where's Ben? Where's he at? He's talking about native stuff. I mean, the technology has been tested. This is actually really popular overseas. It's just coming to the United States, and I mean banks size of U.S. banks and not quite size of Bank of America. They're using it, using this platform for their primary mobile apps, and they're scaling to hundreds of thousands of concurrent users. And so they are proving out that you can do these sort of things at scale without native applications.
As an observer, I just want to make a statement. You had stated that your primary enterprise and you're concerned about functionality, but there were two beautiful things about this application. I noticed how there was a song. I couldn't read the song from a distance, but it said song on there, correct?
Yeah.
Songs change people's moods. So I think that was way beyond functionality. That was beautiful. And then the calculation of the analytics at the end, where you calculated people's mood structures, whereas current, that was beyond just functionality. So as an observer, I think there's a lot more into you than what you think.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We tried.
All right, we have one last demo today, Slice Line. And so if you guys could head on up here, they clocked in the most hours this weekend with 157.5. So I guess that was more than a guess. And 4 overnight stays.
Oh yeah, we did.
I'm going to welcome Levi Zitting, Davis Hamilton, Melissa Hamilton, Eric Schumann, and Mike Kopanos. Sorry, Mike. And while they're getting situated, like I said, this is our last presentation today. After this demo, we're all going to take a 10-minute break so that the judges can deliberate and finalize their scoring. So that would be a great opportunity for you to hit the bathrooms, grab another drink, grab a little bit more food. And since they are still plugging in, I do want to mention that afterwards we're going to be drawing for prizes. We've got 2 different buckets started. We're putting anybody who did an overnight stay in a drawing for the energy drinks, and then we'll have 5 winners there for the 5 different cases, and then we'll do drawings for an assortment of prizes that were donated, including an Oculus Go standalone headset from Self Interactive.
But you must be present to win.
Which you must be present to win, and you must have demoed today to win. So with that, I'll hand it over to Slice Line.
Hey everyone, so my name is Levi Zinning. I was kind of the organizer of this little ragtag team. We're just kind of some friends who attend some of the local meetup groups here in Springfield. For almost everyone here, it was their first time ever participating in this hackathon, except for me. I came to the last one. But we're here today to kind of show off what we came up with over the weekend. We started off by going through kind of a long design phase almost. We actually had someone with a little bit of design experience on our team. And I'm going to pass it off to her real quick to show off all of the artboards that she made in Sketch. She put together over 30 different individual screens, and we only got to implement a handful of them throughout the hack night. But we do think that is something that, with the amount that she was able to put out over the weekend, they could easily be taken on by other people and implemented further. So I'll pass it off to Melissa to show off what she came up with.
Okay, so the base idea is this person's going to be coming into this app and they're in a very stressful situation. They're very upset, and so the minimal amount of button clicks, minimum amount of content attacking them is what the aim was. So this first screen is just going to be the screen when it opens up. So this will be the user login if they have already created an account. And then this will be sign up. So it'll ask username, password confirmations. It'll have the social media links. And then the next part is optional information. None of this has to be filled out. And then terms of service, just putting it out front there saying, look, we're not responsible, or what we are responsible for. This will be the home page. So the user will come into this page. The biggest thing was to make sure that they understood that they could speak with an angel whenever possible. So the request button is put in the header. Resources and about are just right there, ready to access. So this will be the sidebar. Sidebar will show username and then the settings. All the stuff in purple is stuff we hadn't gotten to yet, but it is in there to be added. The biggest thing I think is the resources. All of these people need resources. If you can connect them to a resource, you can most likely save their life or at least give them some hope. So this would be all. So it would populate all of the services available based on the different criteria in the database. And then the next one is, I think the biggest feature is the recommended. A lot of people, I have experience working with people in these situations. And the biggest thing is you can give them an entire list of resources, but they won't look at them unless you say specifically that these are resources you should check out. So the biggest thing here was to say that they can have it when they speak with an angel. The angel can come over and they can say, hey, this is a resource that I feel is really, really good for you. Let me send you this resource, and it'll save to their app. It'll save to their user instance. So they can come back to it anytime. They can also filter by category, and if it's local or national. Also, it'll filter by city, state, or zip as well. And then when you go to just click more information, this is what will show up. So you can call them right away, or you can go out to the website. So these screens will go into more of the chat feature. We opted to say that it'll just directly take them to a chat, text chat, because most people are going to want to start that way to see if they're comfortable enough to give the person a call. So the very first thing whenever, no matter if this could be from the login screen or this could be from just the main page. But the biggest thing is just checking in how they're feeling. If they answer with 5 or less, it will go ahead and it will pop up this screen here. So just kind of saying, hey, if it's that bad, maybe you should call here first before going on and talking to us. So then after that, if they hit OK, it'll take them to this. So it'll say what's going on and just pre-populate over to the text chat. So whatever they say or they choose in that drop-down list will be the first text that the angel receives. So the angel will understand kind of where they're coming from and kind of what needs to happen next. And then on this one here, so if they hit call angel, it'll go ahead and it'll pull this up. We had kind of gone back and forth, but one of the main thoughts is to just have the user, the end user, not the angel, but the end user, to go ahead and be able to initiate and end that phone call. Not necessarily on the angel's end unless it's deemed necessary, but to just give that user full control. Okay, so then the next part here is just going to be the angel's login. The idea kind of behind it was that the angels log in, they can set their status, and then down at the bottom of the screen it's just going to show all the current chats they have available and if there's new chats coming in. Their chat screen is going to look exactly like the user's chat screen, except for the call angel button is going to be replaced with the resources button, so they can quickly access resources and jump back. So this is a change status. If they hit that they are available, it'll bring up with something that'll show them, okay, so this is how long I'm available for, this is the time that I'm available until. And then it'll check in with LMS to see if there's any required teaching, trainings, whatever. If there aren't any, it will go ahead and start the time. If the time comes up, it'll come up with this screen just stating, hey, do you need more time with somebody or are you available longer? And then this is just their sidebar, so direct access to LMS. I know in there it had listed as well that they predefine when they're available. So that's available there too. Resources, then just going over to these resources, and this is what they will see. They'll just have the entire list. So the biggest thing would just be training the volunteers on the best way to search the list and being familiar with what's available. Again, there's searches. So then the biggest thing too is you need more people to join. So if one person gets helped with this app, they're going to want to go ahead and join on. So then this would be in the user's end. So the person that's requesting help, this would be their end. So when they select how can we help, how can I help, this would come up. So it'll ask all of their information, go through, we kind of had it set up two ways. One way is it will go through and it'll ask them all the information that's required for the background check and then send that over to the administrator. The other thought too is it will just ask for their basic information and then send them this message. Either way they'll get the message. And then the administrator would email them asking for that background information, asking for the more pertinent information needed for that. And I think that, yep, and then the rest is just like loading screens. So that leads into the back end.
Yep, so we don't have a ton of time left. I thought that a lot of these, we should spend more time kind of talking about the designs because that's where actually a lot of work went in. We spent a lot more time kind of thinking about more of the flow of this application. And we spent more of the tech side just kind of building realistically just an MVP, implementing the base features that we would really need. So in terms of the back end, we also wanted to choose technologies that we thought would be able to bring more of the community in, to be able to add features in easily. We chose technologies that did not have a steep learning curve. I know that like a lot of beginners have started to come to these hack nights, and so we thought picking technologies that are somewhat well known would be an excellent addition to our project, and a reason that maybe it might be chosen to be the one that we build out because it's easy for beginners to come into. So our tech stack is a Laravel-based API backend built on top of what's called Laravel Nova. Laravel Nova is this kind of really easy configurable admin interface. So this is kind of what admins would see when they're coming in to kind of manage angels and their submissions to become angels. They have the ability to control whether or not they're active. And also, we also started building out the resources. This was kind of a feature that we thought would be really nice. She mentioned this recommended resources, so we built out kind of the whole UI for managing the local and national resources so that and make it all configurable from kind of a content management system, which is what this Laravel Nova is. As far as the mobile app itself, we'll just kind of show off a few things really quickly because I know we're really low on time. Let's see. We did get authentication working. We really don't have enough time to demo. We got real-time chat working in the app. We got authentication working in the app, and we got a little bit of the resources part done. As all the code is up on GitHub, we can add readmes to make it so that people can run it themselves and see a lot of it, but I think that a lot of the work we did was in the design part, and that's something that we really wanted to show off.
Can we see the chat?
Yes, but we are out of time, but that was a question. Can we spend a few minutes showing off the chat? Okay, let me see. All right, let me log in as an angel here, because we implemented sign-in for both angels and actual end users. So I'm gonna log in as an angel here. Dave on his iPhone here is logged in as an actual user, so I'm gonna go to our actual application. Shoot, what was that username again? Angel@example.com. So password. Password. I can type it right. Uh-oh. Well, we have authentication working, but not all of our routes are technically covered. So let me just go to angel/chat. Yep. Angle. I made a joke about that earlier. Okay, so the real-time chat we had implemented, not totally siloed off to users, but the authentication part technically does still work. So we can send messages back and forth. We're using Pusher ChatKit to handle all of the real-time messaging. They allow up to, I think, 1,000 monthly active users on their platform for free. prices kind of go up after that. Any other questions?
Not a question, just a comment. Couple things. I know, number one, it was on the design phase, but I love that you guys, again, on the design side at least, showed pushing however the person in need felt at the time to the Angel, so great job there. And then the other thing, I know you guys came to me and asked that question, but I love that idea of, again, the Angel being able to say, hey, here's the recommended resources, to help navigate that. So really great job of thinking that through and putting it together from a design standpoint.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
That was great.
Me, David, and Melissa did.
David and Melissa.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to let the judges take a few minutes to look things over. And not quite yet. And so let's take about a 10-minute break. And we're running behind. I apologize, but we'll meet back here at 2:15. Let's stack these into teams, and then as soon as
I still think everybody
yes,
should have a
we
chance
won't
to
worry on
play.
that one. I'll let you know. Those are, we'll stack these into teams, and then we'll just put the teams into notebooks. Well, I don't know how you guys do it. Yeah, it does. Well, everybody's been awesome. Somebody still, I'm doing stats.
What about mine? It's like the bravery, you know? It's like, you know, take your chance.
So you guys
I can just say something super quick.
Sure.
I'll walk you.
Okay, thank you. Tell from the timing that it took the judges a while to make a decision because we had a much larger turnout this year and the quality of all of the projects was much better than we had expected, and so kudos to everybody for making the decision for the judges difficult. If that's the largest of our problems over the weekend, I'd say it was a success. So third place goes to Team Castiel. Did I get it right?
I think there's some sort of
Castiel, with Ben Pomerenke, Tom Pepe, Caroline Miller, and Amber Gillenwaters. Woo! We'd like to give you each member of your team a plaque and a gift card, and take a photo with you right here in the center of the room. And after we do the photo, you can come back and get your little deal to hold the plaque so doesn't get scratched up. All right.
Chuck, you want to get in the picture?
Yeah, Chuck, did you get in the picture?
You guys scoot center with the, that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steer right into the light.
Yeah, just step up just a little bit so your face is in the light.
Yeah, if you step forward.
Come up about here.
Oh, yeah.
Come up. Step up so that you're not in the light.
Right.
There you go. Perfect. Walk forward.
The rest of our team, we get to stay next to that.
Woo! We did it!
Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay!
All right.
Don't forget, next gift card. Hold on. Yeah, those.
We'll get one. We have an IOU for Jordan.
Great job, guys.
All right. Okay. So now we're going to draw for another overnight no-dose pack.
Do we have, let's see, you know what? Tim Franklin, you were one of our sponsors as well, but Gravitate, correct?
Not exactly.
We have another prize for those who stayed overnight.
Ben High, Dramatic Roosters.
When's the drawing for the kidney? They'll you have to drink again.
That'll be next year's competition.
Hey, driving me in the alley behind the E-Factory.
All right. And with that, well, I'd like to announce our second place winner. And like I said, the competition was fierce, and they had a lot of trouble deciding exactly who came out on top. And with the quality of all of the submissions this year, we're probably going to do something a little different with the Hack Nights and try to incorporate ideas from a lot of the different projects, because we saw a lot of implementations and a lot of designs that on their own may not have been the full piece, but together I think would do a lot of great things for Borrow My Angels. But sorry, with that, second place goes to Slice Line. That's Levi Zitting, David Hamilton, Melissa Hamilton, Eric Schumann, and Mike Papanos. Do I scoot up again?
You guys are gonna have to figure out who gets it.
All right, and we'll have an IOU for you guys too.
Check. I'm back. All right, can we do the whole prom thing? Somebody's got to go like this.
No, step up. Everybody just step forward.
Step forward, just.
There you go.
Melissa, come to the front. Come on. Jason's flying Swiss gentleman.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Huzzah!
Okay.
Okay, one more case of no-nos?
Yes.
My new name.
Let's drop off another case, and while they're pulling that name, I do want to mention that since the common number of teams is 4, well, we already had 4 plaques and gift cards ready, but if your team is larger, we have an IOU for you. So each person will get a plaque and a prize, but whoever sees us most often, please take the IOU so that we can easily get the plaque and prize to you.
Wait a minute. Austin Cummins from Added Animation.
Awesome. That's for your son. we do have other announcements. Greg has a great point, and I will announce those now because Greg wanted me to. I'm sorry, everybody. I know the tension. Cut it with the knife, right? So, we do want all of the teams to stay involved if they want to continue learning and engaging in the Borrow My Angel projects and the other projects we've done in the past few years, and get involved in our local developer communities if you are able to, or if you're here in the area. Specifically, Mike Bates is here with the web developers group, and they have a couple of events coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about the next few events?
Okay, so this Wednesday, where's Brendan at? Raise your hand. So a lot of teams in here tonight were using a service called Firebase. If you're interested in what this is, don't know what it is, or want to learn more about it, Brendan is going to be talking all about it on Wednesday night. Web Devs meets the first Wednesday of every month, so this is our monthly, and this one is going to be special because, are you going to be doing these interviews? Yes, sir. Greg over here is going to be doing interviews from all the teams that were here, so we need at least one member?
Yep, at least one member from each team. If you can have more people, that's awesome, but it basically helps us to capture what you learned, why it's personally important to you, and helps us to spread the word further so that next year's can be even better. So,
yeah. Thank you. And what about December?
Oh, December, that's going to be a good one. So we try and do something special at the end of each year, and this year we are working with the Jordan's Google group and the Women in Tech group, and we're going to be hosting a Google Dev Fest. So it is going to be on December 5th. It will be here. It'll be an all-day event from like 9 in the morning till 5, and then the evening event will be when Web Devs takes over and does our special thing, and we are going to be doing a development competition. So we are going to have the special space upstairs. We will have 3 to 4 developers at the front of the stage going head-to-head, coding out an interface. There will be a panel of judges that will pick the winner for this. They'll be coding out the new homepage for the Springfield Web Devs site. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Official details to come out probably within the next week. So.
And that's live, and that's up on screen, so we can see their flow, right?
It's going to be a hoot. Food, drinks. Yeah.
If you're dying to be up on screen in front of everybody, now's your chance. But no, thank you for all that you guys do. And definitely come out to those events, and they can find them on meetup.com or on the local tech calendar. And then the last event that I want to list is our ongoing Hack Nights. The next Hack Night is Thursday, January 17th. That's several months away still because we just hosted one, but that would be your first opportunity to come out and help work on some of these projects. Can I get a show of hands? Who might be interested in coming out to a Hack Night?
Oh, everybody,
That's
Richard.
awesome.
And Help SGF just launched. So.
Oh, yeah.
You got plenty of notice.
First one.
And so Mike was on the first year winning team for Hack for Good, and they launched a project called Help SGF, and it just went live
Friday.
Friday!
So at the quarterly Hack Night, we will finally have formal details about getting involved with that project and helping out with that. So we would appreciate anybody's help.
Very cool. And if you want to prepare for Hack Nights, go out to the Hack for Good website, go to the Hack Night page, it has more information. The Hack Night drop-down also has Hack Night projects with information about the last 2 projects. And we've gone ahead and published today the page, the starting of the page for the Borrow My Angel project, where you can go out and find all the code repos for the different teams. And with that, thank you to Greg, what's next? Greg for sidetracking us.
Hey, anytime.
Our first place team this year was a team that I didn't get to see a whole lot of because they were hiding in the very back office. Added Innovation. Mark Whistler.
need to be closer. There we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Huzzah!
Awesome. Well, congratulations to everybody this year. Amazing job. Love everything that we've seen, and hope to have all of you come out and continue to remain involved in Act for Good and the ongoing Hack Nights. Let's go ahead and give away a handful of awards. We have a handful of items today. Let's just mix it up. We're going to start with a Bluetooth Plantronics headset, valued at. No.
It's actually an auction.
$159.95.
Oh, let's spin. This goes to
Medic.
Medic. All right.
And aren't you sporting a Springfield Creative?
We're not.
Immensely serious shirt. So thank you.
Awesome. Stick around.
That's a little warm.
Yeah, they're awesome, aren't they? They're up here commenting on his shirt, which happens to be a stylish, mostly serious shirt that was given out to people that arrived early for registration.
How about we do an Echo Dot?
Let's do an Echo Dot.
Okay.
All right.
Echo Dot. What's the value of this one, Jason?
Oh.
It's $1 million.
It has the golden ticket.
Quee Fan, Interns.
Woo. All right.
Did we say your name right?
Quiet.
Quad.
Try to say it confidently.
I bought it. Wearing a Springfield Creative shirt, you fit.
That's right. I think so. All right, Chuck, do you want to just see the, would you like how about another Voyager Legend
Bluetooth headset.
Bluetooth headset? That's what I thought it was.
That's
Okay,
exactly
ready?
right.
Be styling.
There it is. It is Tiffany Ford.
There you go. And I just, I'm a little bit biased, I'm not gonna lie. But OTC, your local community college, has their instructors, their past students, their alumni, and their students all participating in this event every stinking year. And if this is live, I want to challenge every institution in the Springfield region to do what OTC has done and to bring at least 2 teams next year to this event. Tiffany, Kirsten, thank you. OTC, thank you all so very much. Rock on. Blue box. Oh, why this one is extra fancy.
There's a sweating. A wireless gaming headset.
Whoa, everybody. Okay, Chuck, do you want to draw for this one? Was this donated by Logic Forte?
It was.
Awesome. Thank you, Logic Forte.
With that.
Nathan Pasley from the Interns.
And I will do another shout out because Missouri State has, you're from, don't wear your shirt off right now. So you're with MSU, right? And so you were on a team of, and then mostly MSU students. Stand up MSU, they can't see you, but we can. Again, thank you, you guys. How about the last Bluetooth headset? How about the Mid-American Technology Alliance Board President, Jason Arndt?
Jace Medley.
Sporting the most styling outfit of Hack for Good. He's extra stylish.
Awesome.
Okay, the last Echo Dot. Who should we have? Let's do. I know. I did. It fell back in. It's okay. Okay.
I don't have much, just again, I said it earlier, guys, I know it's late on time. Thank you guys, it's fun, again. We're really excited. This has forced us to speed up the process as a nonprofit, so it's been really remarkable to be a part of this. Appreciate everything that every team has done. Again, we touched on it earlier, as I'll speak for the judges. We had a difficult time narrowing down it all, and I can tell you, certainly, especially from those top 3 teams, we're gonna use pieces of all of those. So we're really excited to partner with you guys. I mentioned it earlier, but I'll put a message on Slack. Again, we are actively recruiting for a sub-board, if you will, a committee that is an IT committee, because obviously we got a lot of work to do over these next couple of years. So if anybody's interested in serving with us, we'd love to talk more, but I'll put a message on Slack. Reach out and touch base with me. We actually have an open house that we're doing 1 week from Friday. I believe the date's the 19th, if I remember correct. I could be off on the date. But again, I'll put information on that. Touch base with me. Thank you guys a ton. Please stay in touch. Watch, if you haven't already, obviously please like our Facebook page, you know, and watch our progress grow. And thank you guys for the part that you played. Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for coming out to Hack for Good 2018. We really appreciate all of your participation and support. If we could have the folks that won door prizes come up after we're done here, so we can take one big group picture, we'd appreciate it for social. If you won plaques and you didn't get your your packaging to hold them so they don't get scratched, please grab those. And lastly, Hack for Good is hosted by a ton of volunteers. We operate on a pretty slim budget and nobody's paid to help out. So all of our volunteers will be, some volunteer will be helping clean up if we don't get any help. So I'm required to ask, if you have a team here, please check over your team area and just make sure it's tidied up to help us out. If you are waiting, if you came to support a team or your area is already clean and you want to hang out in the perch and have some more food and drinks, I mean, we'll be here for a little while. You're welcome to hang out. Otherwise, again, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you at your future events. Have a good day.